The unexpected attack. The Hope carrier glided silently through the vastness of space, a symbol of peace and care. Its purpose was clear: to help, to heal, and to protect those who were injured, lost, or in need of medical assistance. This hospital ship, one of Earth's finest creations, was equipped with state-of-the-art medical technology and staffed by some of the most skilled doctors and nurses in the galaxy. The crew, though far from home, knew they were doing something important. It was a simple mission, a peaceful mission. Inside the ship, Captain Lena Harding stood by the observation window, staring at the stars. There was something calming about space. The emptiness, the quiet. She often found herself lost in its vastness, thinking about how small yet important humanity was in the grand scheme of things. Earth had no desire for war, only to help others. That was the truth that guided her. But today was different. A strange feeling lingered in the air, something that made Captain Harding uneasy. She couldn't put her finger on it, but the routine of the mission felt off. Her crew, usually so steady and confident, were beginning to share the same sense of discomfort. Every little sound seemed amplified, and every flashing light from the control panels felt like an alarm. But there was no reason for concern, was there? The ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Harris, spoke from his station. "Captain, we're picking up strange signals. They're faint, but they're definitely out there. They don't match any known frequencies." Harding turned to him. "Can you pinpoint their origin?" Harris worked quickly, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's coming from the edge of the system, just outside our current course. It's almost like someone is trying to avoid detection." "Keep me posted," Harding said, her voice steady despite the growing tension in her gut. "This is a hospital ship, not a battleship. We're here to help, not to fight." As the minutes ticked by, Harding felt a cold chill creep up her spine. The ship's advanced sensors had detected nothing else. No signs of hostile ships. No strange objects in the vicinity. But the signals were persistent. She walked over to Lieutenant Harris and peered over his shoulder at the display. "I'm not sure what to make of this, Captain. It's almost like they're watching us." Harding's heart skipped a beat. "Watching us? Are you saying someone is tracking our location?" Harris nodded slowly. "Yes, and they're closing in fast." Before Harding could respond, the ship's alarms suddenly blared through the corridors, cutting through the tense atmosphere like a knife. "Red alert. Shields at maximum." The voice of the ship's eye echoed through the ship's speakers. "What's happening?" Harding demanded, her eyes scanning the control panels. "Where are the signals coming from?" Harris didn't have time to answer. A flash of light erupted from the sensors, followed by an explosion of static in the communication lines. The entire ship trembled as if struck by a violent force. Harding's heart raced, and her mind screamed for answers. The Hope carrier wasn't designed for combat. It was a medical ship. Its shields were strong, but they weren't meant to withstand an attack. "Enemy ship on our radar," shouted Lieutenant Harris, his voice filled with panic. "It's huge. Definitely not from any known fleet." Harding's mind raced. Who could be attacking the hospital ship? What kind of monster would target the helpless? She glanced toward the crew working frantically at their stations, their faces filled with fear. "Is the Hope carrier ready for battle?" Harding asked, even though she knew the answer. The ship wasn't designed for warfare. It was a peaceful vessel, built to save lives, not take them. "The shields are holding, but not for long," Harris replied, his voice tight with stress. "They're charging weapons." The ship lurched again, and Harding was thrown off balance. She grabbed hold of the control panel to steady herself. "Activate evasive maneuvers. Do whatever we can to survive." Just as the ship began to turn, the screens flickered to life with a burst of static. The face of an alien appeared on the main view screen. It was a creature unlike anything Harding had ever seen. Its skin was a dull green, with ridges that ran across its forehead. Its eyes glowed with a cold, predatory light. It spoke in a language that was unintelligible, but the message was clear. surrender or be destroyed. The crew was paralyzed in fear, but Harding couldn't afford the luxury of hesitation. This was not just an attack on her ship, it was an attack on everything Earth stood for. She clenched her fists, steeling herself. She had to protect her crew, her ship, and the ideals they represented. "We're not surrendering," Harding said, her voice as calm as she could make it. "We will not let you destroy this ship." The alien's lips curled into a smirk, and then the screen went black. There was no more time for words. The alien ship launched a barrage of energy blasts, shaking the Hope carrier to its core. Harding ordered all crew members to their stations, but it was clear that the situation was growing worse by the second. The ship's shields flickered and groaned under the pressure of the alien weapons. Harding's mind raced. What could she do? She wasn't a soldier. She was a doctor. How could she defend against this? How could she protect her crew? As if on cue, the ship's AI spoke again. This time, the voice was different, more urgent, more powerful. "Captain Harding, Earth's war fleet is en route. We are ready." Harding's heart skipped a beat. Earth had a war fleet. She had no idea. She had heard rumors, whispers in the corridors, but she had never truly believed them. Now, as the Hope carrier teetered on the edge of destruction, she realized that Earth's hidden strength might be the only thing that could save them. "Hold on, everyone," she said, her voice filled with determination. "Help is coming." But in the back of her mind, Harding knew one thing for certain. This was just the beginning. The war had come to Earth, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what it was capable of. As the Hope carrier shuddered under the relentless alien fire, Captain Harding held onto the belief that help was on the way. But in the deepest corners of her mind, she couldn't help but wonder how Earth's war fleet would even know they were in trouble. The transmission had been brief, almost too quick to understand, but there was no time to question it. They needed help, and they needed it now. While the Hope carrier struggled to stay intact, the scene on Earth was drastically different. Deep below the surface, in a hidden underground base that had been kept secret for decades, a different kind of activity was taking place. The base, known as the Earth Strategic Command, was a sprawling complex, hidden beneath layers of rock and shielded by sophisticated technology. Here, the leaders of Earth's military, along with their brightest minds, had gathered long ago to prepare for an enemy they had never expected, an enemy who had now arrived. This was the last place anyone would think to look for Earth's most powerful weapon. General Samuel Grant, one of the architects of Earth's military strength, stood before a massive holographic map. His sharp eyes scanned the image of the galaxy, a cold and calculating expression on his face. For years, Earth had maintained its peaceful stance in the universe, but they knew that peace could never last forever. In secret, they had built a war fleet so powerful, so advanced, that no one could have imagined it. "General, the Hope carrier is under attack. The alien fleet is aggressive, and their weapons are more advanced than expected," reported Commander Jessica Lee, standing at a nearby console. Her voice carried the weight of urgency, but there was no fear in it. "Send the signal," General Grant ordered, his voice steady and commanding. "Yes, sir," Commander Lee responded, her fingers flying over the controls. A transmission was sent out to the fleet, a direct message to every ship in Earth's secret war fleet: "Mobilize. Prepare for battle. Earth is under attack." Above the Earth, the skies suddenly changed. What had been a serene and quiet backdrop now shifted to something much darker. The air vibrated with energy as massive warships, each one a technological marvel, powered up and moved into formation. These ships weren't built for peace. They were built to wage war. The war fleet consisted of dozens of ships, each one designed for different roles, but united by one goal: to protect Earth at all costs. The largest of the ships, the Titan, was a dreadnought that dwarfed anything the galaxy had seen. It was equipped with enough firepower to obliterate entire planets. Behind it, the rest of the fleet followed in perfect synchrony: cruisers, destroyers, and fighter ships, all silent and lethal, their weapons ready. At the heart of it all was Captain Aria Vasquez, the fleet's commander. She had been chosen for this role not only because of her experience in combat, but also because of her unshakable resolve. She had trained her entire life for a moment like this, but even she had never imagined that it would come so soon. "Status report," Captain Vasquez said, her voice sharp as she paced the bridge of the Titan. "Fleet is ready, Captain," said her tactical officer, Lieutenant Darren Kwan, his hands flying across the controls. "We've received the signal from Earth's command. All ships are prepared to engage." Vasquez nodded. "Send the coordinates to the fleet. We make a direct jump to the Hope carrier's location. No detours. Let's show these invaders who they're messing with." The Titan and its fleet surged forward, entering the dark expanse of space. A quiet hum filled the ship's command center as the crew moved with practiced precision. For them, this was not just a mission, it was a statement. Humanity had been underestimated for too long, and now it was time to make that clear. Back on the Hope carrier, Harding had no idea what was about to unfold. The battle for the hospital ship was far from over, and every second was a struggle. The alien ships seemed relentless, attacking without mercy. Each time the Hope carrier's shields buckled, Harding knew that it was only a matter of time before they would give way entirely. Her officers continued to do their best to hold off the enemy, but the truth was clear. They weren't built for this. They were healers, not warriors. And the alien fleet, though vicious, had the upper hand in terms of firepower and experience. "Captain," Lieutenant Harris called out, his voice tinged with desperation. "We've lost more than half our shield capacity. At this rate, we won't last much longer." Harding swallowed hard, trying to keep her composure. "Hold on, just a little longer. Earth is sending help." "How do you know that?" Harris asked, his brow furrowed. "I don't know," Harding replied, her voice thick with uncertainty. "But we have to believe it. We have to believe that Earth won't let us fall." The tension on the Hope carrier was unbearable. The alien ships pressed forward with relentless force, and it felt like there was no escape. But then, just as hope seemed to fade, a faint pulse of energy rippled through the fabric of space. It was subtle at first, but it grew stronger, closer. "Captain, something's happening," Harris said, his eyes widening as he watched the radar. Harding turned to see what had caused the sudden shift. A massive ship appeared on the edge of their sensors, huge, imposing, and powerful. It wasn't alone. Behind it, dozens of smaller ships followed in perfect formation. "Is that Earth's war fleet?" Harding asked, almost disbelieving. "Yes, Captain," Harris said, his voice filled with awe. "It's here." The alien ships, for the first time, hesitated. They could sense the arrival of a force unlike any they had faced before. The tide of battle was about to shift. Humanity's hidden power was on full display, and the alien invaders would soon learn the true meaning of Earth's strength. As the fleet moved closer, Captain Harding finally allowed herself a moment of relief. She knew Earth had sent its best, and now the Hope carrier and its crew would be safe. But the battle was far from over, and this was only the beginning. The vastness of space seemed to swallow everything around the fleet. For a moment, everything was still. Then, in a flash, the silence was shattered as Earth's war fleet engaged the alien ships with a force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Titan led the charge, its massive hull cutting through space with an air of dominance. Its cannons, built to destroy entire battalions, opened fire, launching a barrage of plasma bolts that lit up the dark void. The first alien ship was hit directly, its shields flickering in the attack's wake before the ship disintegrated in a brilliant explosion. The alien forces, initially confident in their superiority, quickly realized that they were up against something far beyond their expectations. Captain Vasquez stood tall at the helm, her gaze fixed on the battlefield unfolding before her. Her voice was calm but commanding as she gave orders to her fleet. "Target their command ships. We disable them first. The rest will crumble without leadership. Her orders were swiftly followed. The fleet's tactics were precise, a well-choreographed dance of destruction. Each ship, from the Titan to the smallest fighter, followed the plan to perfection. The alien forces tried to regroup, but their coordination was crumbling under the weight of Earth's might. The tide of the battle was turning. In the command center of the Titan, Lieutenant Quan monitored the battlefield, his eyes scanning the various screens. "Captain, enemy reinforcements are arriving. They're sending in larger ships. We'll need to increase our firepower to keep them at bay." Vasquez didn't hesitate. "Prepare the secondary weapons. We're not just going to defend, we're going to obliterate them." The fleet responded. Earth's warships, once hidden in the shadows of secrecy, now revealed their full arsenal. Hidden turrets and cloaked missiles launched from various positions on the ships. The skies were filled with energy, plasma, and fire as Earth's fleet fought with the ferocity of a species determined to protect what was theirs. Every shot was calculated, every move executed with ruthless precision. On the Hope carrier, Captain Harding watched in awe as Earth's fleet arrived like a storm. The alien ships that had been threatening her crew moments ago were now in retreat, retreating from an enemy they had never seen coming. The sight of Earth's war fleet in action was more than just a display of firepower. It was a promise that humanity would never bow to any invader. "We're alive because of them," Lieutenant Harris said, his voice trembling with relief. "The fleet, they really came." Harding nodded, her heart swelling with pride. "They're not just saving us. They're showing the galaxy who Earth is." But the battle wasn't over yet. In the far distance, Captain Vasquez could see the enemy's last line of defense, an enormous alien flagship, far larger and more heavily armed than anything Earth had ever seen. It was massive, shaped like a jagged rock, and its weapons pulsed with dark energy. The final confrontation was about to begin. Vasquez wasn't intimidated. Instead, she felt a surge of excitement. "All ships, prepare to engage the flagship. This is it. We end this now." The fleet rallied behind her. The Titan led the charge, its engines roaring to life as it propelled forward at incredible speed. The alien flagship fired first, launching a massive beam of destructive energy that cut through the space ahead. But Earth's ships were faster, more agile, and they knew how to fight smarter. "Counterattack now," Vasquez ordered. The fleet responded instantly. Missiles shot forward, hitting the flagship's shields with pinpoint accuracy. The alien ship's shields shimmered but held. The flagship's weapon systems retaliated, sending wave after wave of destruction, but Earth's ships dodged with unmatched precision. For every alien move, Earth countered. For every blast fired, a ship retaliated. The war fleet's synchronized dance was like a deadly ballet, moving with purpose and relentless force. In the midst of the chaos, Harding and her crew watched as the Hope carrier slowly regained its strength. The shields were still damaged, but the ship was operational again. She could almost feel the weight of her decisions lift. This fight was bigger than saving one ship. It was humanity's fight for survival, a fight that the galaxy would soon know was not easily won. "We're not just survivors anymore," Harris said, his voice full of awe. "We're the fighters." Harding smiled, though there was no time for celebration. "And we fight to win." The alien flagship continued to launch its weapons, but Earth's war fleet was relentless. As the flagship's weapons fired once more, the Titan responded with a full barrage of its own. The massive cannons of the dreadnought unleashed a final strike, its energy cutting through the alien ship's shields like paper. The flagship erupted in a series of explosions, its once imposing form breaking apart into debris and fire. The alien forces, now leaderless and crippled, scattered into the void. The remnants of their fleet were in retreat, their once confident assault shattered by the might of Earth's unexpected war fleet. "Victory," Captain Vasquez said, her voice calm but filled with pride. "We've done it. Earth's strength is undeniable. Back on the Hope carrier, Harding couldn't contain her emotions. The once crippled hospital ship was safe, and its crew was alive. But more importantly, humanity had just proven itself to the galaxy. The alien invaders had learned the hard way that Earth was not a planet to be underestimated. As the dust settled and the fleet began to regroup, Harding and her crew knew this was just the beginning. They had faced the unknown, and they had won. But Earth's war fleet had sent a message far beyond this battle, a message that no one would soon forget. The galaxy had just witnessed the power of Earth, and the message was clear: never underestimate humanity. In the aftermath of the colossal battle, silence once again settled over the space around Earth's war fleet. The debris from the destroyed alien flagship scattered across the cosmos like broken stars. But even as the threat of immediate danger faded, Captain Vasquez knew that this was far from over. The enemy had retreated for now, but it wouldn't be long before they regrouped and launched another attack. On the Titan, Vasquez stood in front of the holographic map, analyzing the movement of the remaining alien forces. Her crew was silent, each person focused on their stations, but the tension in the room was palpable. The fleet had won a significant victory, but the cost of the battle was far from clear. "Lieutenant Quan," Vasquez began, her voice steady, but filled with determination. "How many of their ships survived?" Quan's fingers danced across his console, pulling up the data. His eyes flickered over the numbers as the ship's positions and statuses updated in real time. "There are still about a dozen ships left, Captain. They're scattered, trying to regroup. They're probably calling for reinforcements." Vasquez nodded. "Prepare the fleet. We need to hit them before they can regroup. We can't afford to let them have a second chance." The enemy might have been weakened, but the retreat wasn't a sign of defeat. Vasquez knew that, in the cold vacuum of space, retreat meant one thing. They were planning something bigger. They wouldn't let Earth's war fleet stand unchallenged for long. Meanwhile, aboard the Hope carrier, Captain Harding had her own thoughts about the conflict. The hospital ship had been transformed into a makeshift command center during the battle, but now it was more than just a place of healing. Harding's crew had been through hell and back, and now that the immediate threat was over, they had to figure out what came next. She stood in the medical bay, surrounded by injured crew members who had been caught in the initial attack. Nurses and doctors worked tirelessly to treat the wounded, but Harding's mind was elsewhere. Her thoughts drifted to the larger picture, the galaxy and the potential for future conflicts. "We fought hard, but the war isn't over," she muttered to herself, her fingers tapping nervously on the cold metal railing. "The next wave is coming. We have to be ready." Her comms officer, Lieutenant Harris, stepped up beside her, his expression serious. "Captain, the alien forces are reorganizing. We've received some intercepted communications. They're regrouping on a nearby moon. They're getting ready for a counteroffensive." Harding looked up, her gaze hardening. "Of course they are. We can't let them get any stronger. Let's prepare the fleet." Back on the Titan, Vasquez's plan was already in motion. The fleet's next objective was clear. "We're not waiting for them to come to us," Vasquez announced over the intercom. "We're going to their base on the moon. We hit them hard, fast, and relentless." The fleet prepared for its next assault. The Titan and its allies loaded their weapons, checked their shields, and made sure their engines were at full power. The remaining alien ships were scattered, but that didn't mean they weren't dangerous. If Earth's fleet could catch them off guard, it could be the end of the conflict. As the warships surged forward, the cold of space was momentarily forgotten, replaced by the heat of battle. The fleet moved in formation, each ship working in unison to protect the others. In the distance, a dark shape appeared, a massive alien battle cruiser, surrounded by smaller ships. They were entrenched on the surface of the moon, preparing for the attack. "They're already starting to dig in," Lieutenant Quan reported, his eyes focused on the screens. "This will be a tough fight. Not if we have anything to say about it, Vasquez replied, her voice firm. We have the advantage of speed and precision. Let's make sure they regret coming here. The Titan led the charge once more, its engines roaring as it launched toward the alien cruiser. Earth's fleet followed suit, their weapons primed and ready. The alien ships opened fire first, massive beams of energy lancing out into the void, targeting the oncoming fleet. But Earth's ships had learned from the last encounter. They were faster, nimbler, and more prepared. Return fire. Focus on their shields, Vasquez commanded. The Titan's cannons opened up with a powerful barrage, energy bolts slicing through the vacuum of space. The alien shields flared brightly as they absorbed the shots, but Earth's fleet wasn't stopping. They poured everything they had into the enemy's defenses, trying to break through before the aliens could counterattack. On the surface of the moon, the alien forces began to mobilize. Massive war machines, designed for ground combat, slowly crawled across the surface. But Earth's warships weren't just focused on the space battle. The ground assault would come soon enough. We have to hold them here, Vasquez said, watching the ground operations closely. We can't let them escape back to their base. If they retreat into their stronghold, we'll lose our advantage. The battle raged on, and Earth's fleet continued to push forward. The alien forces fought back with ferocity, but they were now on the defensive. The tide of battle was turning, but the war was far from over. As Vasquez and her crew prepared for the final push, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never forget the name of Earth. The war was about to take another turn, one that would change everything. And Earth was ready for it. The battle had shifted in Earth's favor, but the enemy was far from defeated. The alien forces had dug in deep on the surface of the moon, using every advantage they could to turn the tide of the war. Earth's fleet had already decimated their remaining space forces, but now it was time to finish what they had started. Captain Vasquez stood at the helm of the Titan, her eyes scanning the battlefield. The fleet had reached the moon's orbit, and the time for subtlety had passed. They had to go in hard and fast, take the fight to the enemy, and ensure that Earth's presence in the galaxy was felt. Lieutenant Quan, Vasquez said, her voice calm but filled with determination, prepare the ground assault units. We'll take the fight to their front lines. Quan immediately got to work. The Titan's cargo holds opened, revealing hundreds of specialized landing craft, ready for deployment. These weren't just any ordinary ground units. These were Earth's finest, elite soldiers equipped with advanced armor and weapons that would make even the toughest alien warriors hesitate. All units, prepare for deployment, Vasquez continued. We make planetfall in 5 minutes. The moon's surface was pocked with alien fortifications, towering defense structures, and a network of tunnels built into the rock. Earth's soldiers knew that this would be a battle unlike any they had fought before, but they were prepared. They had trained for this moment, and the galaxy would soon learn that humans were not only capable of surviving, but thriving in the most hostile environments. Captain Harding, on the Hope carrier, had been coordinating the medical evacuation of wounded soldiers, but now she was back in the fray. Her crew had played a vital role in keeping Earth's warships in the fight, and now it was time for them to play a part in the final assault. Harding had made a decision: to lead a special force into the heart of the alien base, to finish what had been started, and to make sure that no alien threat would dare rise again. We're in this together, Harding said to her crew. Let's show them that Earth's resolve can't be broken. As the landing craft descended toward the surface, Vasquez's eyes locked onto the alien defenses. The enemy had established a stronghold, but Earth's war fleet had already taken out most of their aerial defenses. The aliens' remaining firepower was concentrated on the ground, where they hoped to mount their last stand. Activate the anti-gravity thrusters, Vasquez ordered. We'll get in close, hit them hard, and take control of their command center. No more waiting. The landing craft plunged toward the moon's surface with incredible speed. The ground forces, dressed in black armor with glowing blue accents, prepared for battle. The craft shuddered as it hit the surface, and the rear hatch opened, releasing the soldiers into a landscape of chaos. Explosions rocked the ground around them as alien forces opened fire, but Earth's soldiers were ready. "We have one mission," Lieutenant Quan shouted over the comms as he led his squad toward a massive alien bunker. "Take the command center and cripple their ability to fight back." The air was thick with dust and smoke from the ongoing battle. The alien forces, though seemingly disorganized, fought fiercely with weapons that sent deadly energy blasts into the air. But they were no match for the precision and training of Earth's elite soldiers. Vasquez, still watching from orbit, gave the signal to engage the second phase of the assault. "Activate the bombers. We take out their remaining defenses before they regroup." As Earth's bombers soared overhead, they dropped their payload on the remaining alien bases. Huge explosions rocked the surface as entire sections of the alien stronghold were reduced to rubble. The moon's surface trembled as Earth's forces pushed forward, taking control of every alien position they encountered. The ground shook as the final assault began. On the battlefield, Captain Harding's team fought their way through alien lines, dodging fire and making their way toward the heart of the alien base. They could see the alien command center in the distance, a massive fortress surrounded by walls of thick, reinforced metal. It would take everything they had to breach the walls and disable the remaining alien forces inside. "Push forward," Harding commanded, leading the charge. "We're not stopping until this is over." As they reached the walls of the fortress, Harding's soldiers deployed explosive charges, sending blasts of energy into the thick metal. The wall crumbled, revealing the alien command center. It was larger and more complex than anything Harding had anticipated. Inside, aliens moved in a panic, knowing they were losing control of the situation. With explosive force, Harding's team stormed the command center. They fought their way through wave after wave of alien defenders, the battle intensifying with every passing minute. But Earth's soldiers were relentless. They pushed forward, knowing that victory was within their grasp. Meanwhile, above, Captain Vasquez watched as the ground forces made their final push. The alien defenders were crumbling under the weight of Earth's strategy. One by one, alien ships fled the moon's surface, retreating into deep space, unable to withstand the combined might of Earth's war fleet and ground forces. It was over. Earth had secured its place in the galaxy, not as a helpless planet, but as a force to be reckoned with. "Victory is ours," Vasquez said, her voice filled with both pride and relief. "We've shown them that humanity is not to be underestimated." As the remaining alien ships disappeared into the vastness of space, Harding and her team emerged from the alien command center, covered in dust and blood, but victorious. Earth had won the battle. And now, humanity would send a message across the stars. Never again will Earth be attacked. And the galaxy would remember the name of Earth. The battle was over. The moon's surface, once a stronghold for the alien invaders, now lay in ruins. Massive craters and smoking wreckage were all that remained of the once imposing alien fortifications. The alien warships that had been trying to regroup were now scattered across the void of space, their command structure completely dismantled. Earth's fleet had not only defended their world, they had delivered a resounding blow to the invaders that would echo throughout the galaxy. But as the victory celebrations began, Captain Vasquez knew that the real work was just beginning. The Titan floated silently above the moon, its crew surveying the battlefield below. Vasquez stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the holographic map, which displayed Earth's victory in striking detail. The alien forces were scattered, their morale shattered. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking out there, a larger, more dangerous force that would be drawn to Earth's recent display of power. "Captain, we've received a signal from the Galactic Council," Lieutenant Quan announced, interrupting her thoughts. "They want to speak with you." Vasquez nodded, her expression unreadable. The Galactic Council, an alliance of various species and civilizations across the galaxy, had been watching Earth's progress since the war began. Now, after Earth's overwhelming victory, the Council would likely want to assess the situation. It was time to prepare for what came next. Patch them through, Vasquez ordered. A moment later, the holographic display flickered to life, showing a group of representatives from the Galactic Council. Their faces were serious, but there was a hint of curiosity in their eyes. These were beings from across the galaxy, some humanoid, others completely alien in form, but all of them had been watching Earth's fleet with growing interest. Captain Vasquez, the lead representative, a tall, blue-skinned alien with a regal air, spoke. "Your forces have just decimated a significant portion of the invading fleet. The Galactic Council has taken notice, but we must ask, what are your intentions moving forward?" Vasquez met the representative's gaze, her tone steady. "Our intentions are simple. Earth will not be a victim again. We will defend ourselves, and we will help those who cannot defend themselves. The galaxy will learn that humanity will not stand idly by when others are threatened." The council members exchanged glances, some of them nodding in agreement, others more hesitant. The reputation of humanity had changed overnight, from a planet considered weak and isolated to a force capable of reshaping the galaxy. "You have proven yourselves to be more than capable," another council member, a reptilian species, spoke. "But there are still threats out there, greater threats than you realize. The alien fleet you defeated was merely a small part of a larger empire. Their leaders will seek revenge, and they will come with much more power next time." Vasquez didn't flinch. She had expected this. The universe was vast, and Earth had only just begun to make its mark. But it wasn't just about defense. Earth had to make its presence known. "We will be ready," Vasquez replied. "And we're not in this alone. We've already made allies, species that have seen the potential in humanity." The blue-skinned representative raised an eyebrow. "Allies? Tell us more." Vasquez turned to Lieutenant Quan, whom nodded and activated a new holographic projection. This one displayed a map of the galaxy, pinpointing key locations where Earth had already forged alliances, both with other species that had suffered under the same alien empire and those that had realized the strength of Earth's warriors. Earth was no longer a lone, isolated planet. It was now part of something much bigger. "As you can see," Quan began, "we have already made contact with several civilizations. Many have offered to assist us in future conflicts, but we are also prepared to defend ourselves, should anyone choose to challenge us." The Galactic Council listened intently, their expressions shifting from cautious to intrigued. The idea of Earth forming a coalition of different species was revolutionary. Humanity had not only survived the alien onslaught, it had turned it into an opportunity for growth and unity. The lead representative nodded. "It seems that Earth has proven its worth on the galactic stage. We will take this information back to the Council. You may soon have new allies and new responsibilities. The balance of power in the galaxy is shifting, and it seems humanity will play a major role in that shift." Vasquez held her ground, her mind already racing with the possibilities. She knew that this was just the beginning. The enemy would regroup, but Earth's fleet was stronger than ever. And now, the galaxy had taken notice. The signal from the Galactic Council ended, and the bridge of the Titan fell silent for a moment. But Vasquez wasn't done. She turned to Quan and the rest of her crew. "Prepare for what's next," she said, her voice firm. "We've shown the galaxy what we're capable of, but there's still more to do. We'll keep pushing forward, and we won't stop until Earth is safe from any threat, no matter how big or small." Her words resonated with the crew, and each of them nodded in agreement. They had been through hell together, and now they were more determined than ever. Earth had earned its place in the galaxy, and they weren't about to lose it. Meanwhile, on the surface of the moon, Captain Harding and her soldiers were finishing up their mission. The last remnants of the alien forces had been wiped out, and the injured were being tended to. Earth's victory was complete, but there was no time to rest. The war was over for now. But in the distance, in the cold vacuum of space, another battle was already being prepared. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth was no longer the underdog. Humanity had risen to power, and no one would be able to ignore them again. The Titan powered up its engines, and Earth's war fleet began to chart a new course. The stars ahead were filled with uncertainty, but one thing was clear: humanity was ready for whatever came next, and the universe would never be the same again. The stars ahead of Earth's fleet shone brightly, as though they were aware of the monumental shift that had just occurred. Earth, once a small, isolated planet on the edge of the galaxy, now stood as a formidable force that had earned the respect and fear of its galactic neighbors. Humanity had proven itself on the battlefield, and now it was ready to write a new chapter in the history of the stars. Captain Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Titan, gazing out into the void of space. The fleet had completed its mission, and the alien invaders were no longer a threat. But the path ahead was still uncertain. The Galactic Council had acknowledged Earth's newfound power, but as they had warned, greater threats loomed in the shadows. The galaxy was vast, and the enemies that humanity had yet to face were still out there. "We've won, but we've only just begun," Vasquez said to her crew, her voice carrying a note of determination. "The alien fleet we destroyed was only a small part of a much larger empire. We've made our mark, but now we have to prepare for the next battle." Lieutenant Quan nodded, already moving to engage the fleet's next steps. "The warships are ready for anything, Captain. We've learned a lot from this fight. We'll be even more prepared next time." Vasquez glanced at the crew, who were all equally focused, their expressions hardened by the battles they had fought and the victories they had won. Earth had shown the galaxy that it was not a planet to be taken lightly. But the journey wasn't over. It was only just beginning. The moon, now abandoned by the invaders, lay in the rear view of the fleet as they began their trek back toward Earth. Earth's homeworld had remained untouched throughout the battle, but the wounds of the war were visible in the faces of its people. The fight had been long and grueling, and countless lives had been lost. Yet humanity had risen to meet the challenge, and now there was a sense of hope that had been missing for centuries. "We're going to need all the help we can get," Vasquez continued, as if reading the thoughts of her crew. "We can't do this alone, and we won't. We've forged alliances, and now it's time to strengthen those bonds. The universe is full of species who have suffered the same fate we almost did. It's time for us to stand together." Her words were more than just a rallying cry. They were a promise. Humanity would no longer stand alone in the dark. The galaxy, though vast and often hostile, was also full of potential allies who had witnessed Earth's resilience and courage, and Earth would not hesitate to offer that same strength to those in need. As the Titan and the rest of the fleet made their way back toward Earth, messages began pouring in from the galaxy's new allies. The first to respond were the Arthurians, a peaceful but technologically advanced species that had long been subjugated by the alien empire. They had seen Earth's victory and were eager to join the growing coalition. Their message was simple but powerful: "We stand with you." Next came the Reverie, a group of fierce warriors from a distant star system. They had been watching Earth's battle with great interest and now offered their military expertise to help prepare for whatever might come next. The Reverie had their own struggles with the alien empire, and they knew that together they could stand a better chance. Other species, many of whom had been oppressed by the alien forces for centuries, began to send messages of support. Earth had not only defeated their oppressors, it had given them hope for a future where they could stand on equal footing with the other species of the galaxy. In return, they pledged their strength, their wisdom, and their resources to Earth's cause. For the first time in history, humanity was no longer alone. It was part of a larger galaxy, a galaxy full of untapped potential and new opportunities. The stars, once cold and distant, now seemed closer than ever before. Back on Earth, the leaders of the planet gathered in the newly established United Earth Command Center. President Hayes, having overseen the Earth's military strategy during the war, looked out over the world's leaders with a sense of pride and optimism. "We've proven that humanity can survive against the odds," President Hayes said to the assembled leaders. "But now we have to make sure we're ready for the future. We need to unite not just with each other, but with the other species we've come to know. Our place in the galaxy is secured, but we must not take it for granted. We must continue to grow, to adapt, and to protect our home and our allies." The leaders nodded in agreement, knowing that the work ahead would be just as challenging as the war they had won. But this time, they weren't facing the battle alone. The galaxy had taken notice, and Earth had made allies that would help them shape the future. As President Hayes addressed the leaders, a message from the Galactic Council appeared on the screen. The blue-skinned representative, who had spoken with Vasquez before, now appeared again. "President Hayes, Captain Vasquez, we extend our congratulations on Earth's victory," the representative said, their voice filled with respect. "Your strength, your resolve, and your unity have made a lasting impression. Earth is no longer just a planet. You are now a powerful force in the galaxy, and the Galactic Council welcomes you as a full member." Hayes smiled, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. "Thank you. Earth is ready to take its place among the stars." As the message ended, the representatives of Earth's military and political leaders exchanged looks of determination. They had fought for this moment, and now they had it. The future was theirs to shape. And as the Titan and Earth's fleet continued their journey back home, Captain Vasquez looked out over the stars, a quiet resolve settling in her heart. The galaxy was vast, but humanity had just taken its first steps into the great unknown. There would be challenges ahead, no doubt, but Earth would face them all with courage, unity, and strength. The dawn of a new era had arrived. The galaxy would never forget the name of Earth, and humanity had only just begun.